Here we are then, guys, lining up on the grid, getting ready to go for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix here at Motive. As let's turn the music off so that we've got the unadulterated sound of Formula 1 car engines here. But we're on the grid now. The last car's about to pull up. Once the lights come on, the engine revs will start to rise, and then they'll go deadly silent for just a second. Gonna turn the championship. Take a step closer. Is Magfire going to extend it to the final round of the season? Next week at Abu Dhabi, it's lights out and away we go. And it's a slightly bogged down start from Jelram. He cuts off Magfire and Little Greavy coming into turn one. Little Greavy trying up the inside. The Magfire's around the outside of Jelram here. And Magfire's going to squeeze through, but Jelram keeping it on the outside there. Side by side, the two championship contenders. Very respectful of each other there. And Jelram's down the inside, holds on to P2. As we can see in the background, we've got Raki's dropped down to the back. Don't know what's happened to him there. He's had a bit of a moment there. As we can see, HD Baguette's made up 2 places up into 18th place. And Clarky boy somehow getting into the race tonight. I don't quite know how that's happened. That was a bit of a strange one there, because I think TTV was supposed to be lining up on the grid, but I don't know if TTV didn't pick a car or something. But nonetheless, Sebas has got ahead of Rednas up into P10 in the final points playing position there. So that's nicely done there from Sebas. It's a very clean first lap here at Jeddah. So a bit of a surprise, because often you see carnage on the first lap here. But it looks like everybody's keeping it very, very calm and tidy at the moment, as Jelram is on the back of Aldrich Avist here, trying to jostle for the lead. He's got a bit of a run here, but he thinks better of sending one into the left-hander. It's a very fast corner, and it's a bit of a risk going for it there. So Jelram there very sensibly waiting for his opportunities. No DRS at the moment. He's sticking to the back of that Mercedes on pure grunt. And the Red Bull's now looking to the inside into the braking zone here for this left-hand bend. But at the moment, Aldrich Avist parking his car in all the right places. And it's Game for Life is trying to make the move on the inside of Little Greavy. Little Greavy's holding around the outside. Game for Life tucks back in for the slipstream for the time being as they're coming over the line to complete lap 1. It's Aldrich Avist from Jelram. Jelram looking to the outside here in towards turn 1. Riding on board with Magfire in 3rd place. Who's looking up the inside of Jelram. Can't find a way through. Jelram still having to hold station here behind the race leader Aldrich Avist, as Blues Will has lost out to Pat Stappen. Pat Stappen is up into 8th place there. Sebas right behind them on the medium tyres. Looks like we might have seen a few drivers starting on a soft rather than the mediums. I don't know. I will just take a quick look and see. I don't know whether that's going to make the screen go white. It usually does. No, it doesn't. My God. So actually, yeah, it was only Sebas that's qualified on the medium tyres. So that's absolutely right there. So everybody's played by the rules very nicely there. You need to set the grid and do a new lobby. So it looks like everybody's starting on the same tyres that they qualified on, which is good to see. And once again, I want to apologise to TTV for the mix-up tonight. I'm not sure why he got forced to spectate. I know Clarky Boy said he was going to jump in and not pick a car, so I'm assuming there must have been some kind of glitch there, because I said to Clarky Boy he could jump in and be there in case someone disconnects or something. I know he didn't pick a car, but whether or not the game is just giving him the space anyway, I don't know. But nonetheless, we'll have to come back to that afterwards. But TTV, I can only apologise for that one, mate, and we will make sure that does not happen again. Obviously next season we'll be running hopefully a 2-tier format for this league, and what we'll be doing is the tier 2 will run at this time before the tier 1s, and then the top 5 from the tier 2 race. Well, no, there's not the top 5, but essentially if anybody who's registered for tier 1 can't make tier 1, then the top drivers from tier 2 on that night will get the chance to race tier 1. As we can see here, we've got a battle going on. We have 3 wide down the start finish straight there. Blues Will's holding on ahead of Pat Staffen, who's got ahead of Sebas up into 9th place. So Sebas losing out to the Ferrari. Now Pat's looking on the back of Blues Will, but a little bit too far back at the moment. Rednas here trying to join this battle as well. So there's battles throughout the field right now in the early laps of this race. But yeah, for next season we'll have a set field of drivers, and then so basically if anybody who can't make all the races fancies racing tier 1, they'll still get the opportunity to race at the top level, but they'll just have to prove themselves in tier 2 on the night beforehand. Then obviously however many spaces we've got in tier 1 will be filled by the top however many spaces we've got in tier 2, if that makes sense. So there'll still be opportunities for drivers who can't make every race to race at the top level, to race in the big boy league, so to speak. But obviously we'll be explaining more of that on the Discord server in due course. But right now we're watching a great battle here between these guys here. We've got Sebas, Pat Stappen, Blueswell and Redknapp going at it here. Jelram has just made the move on Uldrik Abbas for the lead of the race, so he missed that one on the actual TV cameras, but Uldrik Abbas has now dropped back to P2. He's still on the back of Jelram here, as they'll have DRS down this long start-finish straight, and Uldrik Abbas is now in the slipstream. Did he give Jelram the position there, or was it just bad timing there on Jelram's part? Nonetheless, Uldrik Abbas is going to breeze straight back past him here into turn 1. On their head of Jelram from Magfire, who's still on the back of him in third place. As we can see, Little Greavy looking up the inside, but Highton has just done Little Greavy and Game for Life down that straight and is up into 4th place. A great slingshot move there from Highton. There's a bit of contact there between Highton and Little Greavy. Little Greavy backs out on that one. He's now got Game for Life down the inside of him into P5, and Game for Life picks him off, gets a little bit of a shaky run out of that corner. He's going to be compromised for the next left-hander, but gets it turned in and keeps it together, as T Latifi's got a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting, so that's obviously going to be added onto his race time at the end. Blueswell, Matty Pitt and Pat Stappen have all picked up time penalties, as well as T Latifi, so 4 drivers already picking up time penalties in the early stages of this race, as Sebas has gone ahead of Blueswell up into P10. You've got Penguin doing ahead of Matty Pitt, followed by P2 and Clarky Boy there on the back of this train of cars, as we've got Blueswell has lost out to Sebas there once again. These two trading positions here, and Sebas back up into the final points paying position here in this race. Jelram is still on the back of Uldrik Abbas. These two have been trading places. They've been absolutely on each other since the start. They can't get enough of each other, these two. Whenever Uldrik's racing, it gives Jelram an extra rival, and he looks like Uldrik Abbas is being passed by Jelram. Jelram with the DRS is going to breeze round him here up into the lead of the race, so that was routine stuff there from Jelram. I tell you what, the DRS is very OP here at Jeddah. I'm noticing it here. It seems to be a massive advantage. As you can see now, Uldrik is going to return the favour, and once again he's going to breeze past Jelram down the start-finish straight and should have the lead here. As you can see, Jelram trying to come back around the outside of him, but Uldrik Abbas has come back at him brilliantly there, and these two continuing to go at it, with Magfire now in hot pursuit of these two as we're riding on board with the Alpine here. Championship still on the line here, obviously between Jelram and Magfire. Uldrik Abbas hasn't been able to make every race this season, and as such he isn't really in the battle for the championship, but the two championship contenders are sat in 2nd and 3rd behind Uldrik at this stage, and Jelram coming into this leading the championship by 22 points going into this penultimate round of the season. So Magfire needs to finish ahead of him to leave himself with a strong chance of being in a position where he could take it next week at Abu Dhabi. Realistically, ideally for Magfire, he needs to finish ahead of both of them and hope that he can get Uldrik Abbas in between them. That would give him a 10-point swing, which would leave it as a 12-point gap going into the next round, obviously excluding fastest laps, and obviously number of wins. I think it's reasonably safe to assume, I don't know, but I think probably it's reasonably safe to assume that Jelram has more wins. I think Magfire's picked up 2 or 3 wins so far this season, but consistency's been his main thing, as Clarky Boy's gone ahead of P2 up into P14, noticing that one on the timing screen. So he's made that move somewhere through the middle part of the lap by the looks of it. But yeah, staying with the battle up front, it's Uldrik, Jelram and Magfire battling it out, and Sebas has got ahead of Pat Stappen up into 9th. Uldrik has lost out to Jelram once again down the start-finish straight. Jelram back up into the lead. P2 has got ahead of Clarky Boy out on the timing screen there. I'm noticing those two are trading places. They're having a good little scrap there. But we're currently watching the battle for the lead as Highton has got back ahead of Game for Life again. Highton driving a cracking race tonight as he's trying to squeeze Game for Life out, and he manages to do so. Game for Life's now going to get the run down this little straight, but it's not really much of a straight. There's not really enough time there for him to make the move down that part of the track. As we're looking down the order, Clarky Boy's still on the back of P2 at the moment, and Little Greavy's got a 3-second time penalty there for track limits. Jelram and Uldrik Abbas still going at it, 0.2 of a second between them at this point. You've got Magfire still in tow, still keeping to the back of them. He's just tied a lasso onto the back of the rear wing of Uldrik Abbas. He's trying to keep tabs with him at the moment, but he needs to make sure he can stay within striking distance, because he needs to finish ahead of Jelram, and ideally really needs Uldrik Abbas to finish ahead of him as well. But Jelram currently doing what he has to do at the moment to wrap up the championship with a round to spare. Jelram 22, the reigning champion of the Formula 1 League Hero Motive, the championship leader, has been the man to beat over the last couple of seasons, but Magfire has staged a late rally this season, has refused to bow down, has refused to let Jelram run away with it like he did last season. Jelram has been pushed much harder this season than he was last season. Last season he absolutely drove off into the distance obviously on the track and in terms of the championship, won it by over 100 points, but this season he's really been tested. So we can see Aldrich Avis now looking around the outside of Jelram. You have the inside for turn 2, and he squeezes through there. Jelram trying to hang it around the outside, he manages to do so. Jelram will have the inside for this left-hander at the end of this little mini straight. Aldrich Avis has to surrender that one as Jelram climbs over the curves a little bit and does a great job there of regaining that position once again. As Little Greavy's now up into 4th place ahead of Heighton and Game for Life, so well done there to Little Greavy, managing to get both of them there, probably down the straight I would imagine. As Clarky Boy has got ahead of Matty Pitt, they're up into 14th place, but both of them, P. Chewin and Clarky Boy, have got ahead of Matty Pitt, so Matty must have made a little mistake there at some point. Oh, Clarky Boy, massive slide, massive slide, and Matty Pitt I think just gave him a little bit of a tap as he went through, had nowhere to really go and managed to thread the needle there and get himself into 14th place, but Clarky Boy there did well to hold on to that one. I'll tell you what, that was heart and mouth time there as he's looking on the back of Matty Pitt. Matty Pitt in a moment though looks like he's got that one in hand. And Jelram is still out in front, leading the race by 0.7 of a second ahead of Aldrich Avis. He's starting to pull away a little bit, Jelram. Is he starting to turn up the tempo a little bit? Is he just starting to raise the bar and maybe try and test these guys behind him? Aldrich, though, seems to have reeled him in a little bit down this straight with the DRS open, and Magfire still cleaving to the back of them as well. Still very much a three-way battle for the lead here at Saudi Arabia here for the penultimate round of season 3 here on the Codemasters Formula 1 game at Motive. And this season, this championship is heating up moment by moment. It is getting hotter and hotter and hotter every lap that we go round. This round here at Saudi Arabia, and next week at Abu Dhabi, and then that will be that for the season. This Game for Life has managed to lose out to Heighton. Heighton though deep, and he's got it's actually gone wide there. Heighton loses out to Game for Life, Bill Greavy, and Black Box as well gets through. So Heighton there loses 3 places with that little mistake. All the hard work he's done in that race has now gone down the pan. But Little Greavy is on the back of Game for Life here as these two still going at it for 4th place. You've got Sebas and Redknapp still in tow on Heighton, 7th, 8th and 9th places at this point. You've got Penguin Dude still hassling P. Chewit here. He's managed to get ahead of Matty Pitt and Clarky Boy as Penguin Dude, or has he dropped back into the crutches of them? That might actually be the case. I'm not, to be fair, Penguin Dude's escaped my radar in this race. I'm not sure what he was doing, but he's in a battle with P. Chewit nonetheless here. And Sebas has managed to squeeze through ahead of Heighton there. Heighton dropping places after having a great battle with Game for Life in the early stage of this race. Seems to now be struggling a little bit. Are his tyres starting to go off as Sebas just picked up a time penalty there for track limits. He is on the medium tyres though, so he's in a better position than those guys around him and should probably be the favourite for this battle of best of the rest here, as Aldrich has now done Jelram again. So Aldrich Avis back up into the lead of the race as these 3 leaders are continuing to drive off, and they are head and shoulders above everybody else here tonight. Aldrich, Jelram and Magfire, whilst we haven't really noticed what the gap was, we're almost 3 wide coming down the start finish straight. Here goes Magfire now. Magfire makes the move on Aldrich Avis and it's up into P2, and we've got a VSC. Why have we got a VSC? Try and see, chicken wing's got no front wing. So the marshals are just going to have to clear up that missing front wing, and we should be good to go once again. But Chicken Wing there has obviously had a bit of a moment, and they need time to clear that up. So that's why we've just stopped momentarily there. TTV in the YouTube comments saying, don't worry about it, mate. Just a shame that somebody had to invite all his mates, and I appreciate we wanted a full grip, but he invited too many, and now one of the losers out. I'm really, really sorry. I genuinely, I feel awful about it because I was being really careful. I made sure. I know that Clarky, but I know it's not Clarky Boy's fault. Basically, he was sat in the lobby. I know he didn't pick a car. He said to me, "I'm not going to pick a car. I'm just going to wait and see what happens." And then obviously the game has given him the spot somehow, and he's sat there thinking, "Okay, I've got a seat now." But you can't blame him. But ultimately, I think the game's just messed up, and I am really, really sorry about that because you're the one who's missed out, and we'll obviously make it up to you in some way. Hopefully we can, well, all I can say is next season that things will be a lot more organised. But nonetheless, we can see Penguin Dude tucking in on P2 right now. But yeah, no, it's definitely taught me a lesson here, TTV, just to be a bit more organised, really. But nonetheless, Jelram Magfire and Aldrich Avis still going at it 7/10 between the top 3, who I was saying before, they pulled out 11 seconds to Game for Life, and it was obviously a bit more than that before the start of this lap because they've all been slowing each other down royally. Magfire's now got DRS on Jelram and it's got the move done into turn 1, so Magfire now leads this race. We've got a new leader in Jelram's deep coming into turn 2. and just gets it stopped and covered there off of Aldrich Avis. But Magfire now in control of this race, which he'll be rubbing his hands together. He'll be absolutely delighted with that, because he needs to close the gap to Jelram in the championship, and he'll be hoping now that Aldrich Avis can follow him through up into P2. But these three have pulled out 11 seconds to gain for life in Little Greavy and Sebas, who continue to battle it out. Sebas on the medium tyres will probably be able to jump these two in front of him if the strategy stays as it is, as we have lost Chicken Wing from the race. We saw him without a front wing a little while ago. He is now out of the race here on lap 10, so he's had some kind of incident. As we can see, Racky's now ahead of Blues Will. That's because Blues Will is in the pits, and we've got side by side here. Sebas trying to squeeze up the inside there of Little Greavy. Little Greavy's still there though, on board with Little Greavy in the Aston Martin. I thought he was in the Haas. A bit of a mix up there, but yeah, he's a Haas driver for this season, but he's somehow ended up in the Aston Martin. But he's still right on the back of Sebas here, as they're coming now down towards the end of this little straight. But Sebas there doing a great job on those medium tyres. Jelram has now done Magfire. Jelram's back up into the lead of the race, so these two swapping positions again. But the crucial thing is, Magfire now has DRS down the start finish straight. Jelram's into the pits. Jelram coming in here at the end of lap 10, so he's going to be, I assume, putting a set of mediums on. Tyre wear's not really a major factor here at Jeddah. Oh, Aldrich's down the inside of Magfire. Oh my god, completely missed that. Jelram in the pits. There are the two leaders. Aldrich Avis is now back up into the lead of the race. We should have maybe seen that one coming, because Aldrich was very close to him as they came into the DRS zone, although Magfire had DRS himself because Jelram was in front of them coming to the detection point. So Aldrich has managed to make the move regardless, and is now up into P1, as Penguin Dude has got ahead of P Cheward. So Penguin Dude flying in this race, could be in for a net top 10 position here if he continues how he's going at the moment, as Highton has come out just ahead of Little Greavy. No, he hasn't. Little Greavy's just done it, but oh, bit of a tap there from Highton on Little Greavy. Being naughty, as Clarky Boy, Matty Pitt, well, Clarky Boy's on his way out of the pits. Matty Pitt's just off and on his way now. He should be get there in P16, has also been into the pits. So Rednas, in fact, no. Obviously Jelram has been in, and Black Box has been in, Game for Life Little Greavy. Highton has been in, as well as Rednas, Blues Will, HD Baguette, Matty Pitt. They've all been in for tyres, as has Tila Tifi. No, sorry, as has DJ Phil. Magfire's still on the back of Aldrich Avis here as they're battling it out for the lead. Now, when are these two going to come in to make to put on fresh tyres? Here comes Magfire. He's now into the pits here at the end of lap 11. Aldrich Avis continues on his way for the time being. But the question is, has Magfire managed to cover off Jelram? Where is Jelram? He's just coming out of the last corner. It's on a long start finish straight, so he's by no means up with him yet. But Magfire's now out of his pit box. Jelram there, coming down the start finish straight. I think that Jelram's got this. He has. He's come out miles ahead of him. So Jelram there, out in P3 on this race. Actually, no, it's not miles ahead, to be fair. Quite a quick pit exit there. So Magfire's only about a second behind him. But he's got work to do. He needs to really push. He needs to finish ahead of Jelram in this race. Otherwise, Jelram will be the champion, or will be certainly on the cusp of taking the championship. So Magfire's really got to get a move on here. Lap 12 of 25, and he really ideally would like to get Aldrich Avis in between them. But that could be for another story. As we can see, Pat Staffan's into the pits here at the end of lap 11. He's now on his way out of the pits, so he's coming towards the end of the start finish straight. He comes out a couple of seconds behind Clarky Boy, a couple of seconds ahead of HD Baguette. And really, I'm just up and down the leaderboard trying to find stuff that's going on. But Little Greavy's got ahead of P Cheward. They're up into P7. Obviously, P Cheward's still yet to pit. Little Greavy's got the medium tyres on, and it's good to go to the end. It's a clear one stopper here at Jeddah. There's no real two ways about it. You basically, there's no need for any extra pit stops. The tyre wear is pretty much a non-issue. It's all really long straights and slow corners with a couple of high-speed corners. But the thing is, the high-speed corners are nothing corners. They're not, like, you're not really taking, they're so, there's not really any, you're not really taking any tyre life out of them, because you haven't really got a sort of, you're not really gripping too much. They're basically straights, the fast corners here. So to be honest, the tyre wear is completely non-issue. But nonetheless, look at this. Aldrich Avis has lost out to both Jelram and Magfire here, so he's been the big loser in this pit stops, but he has got a lap fresher tyres than Magfire, and he's got 2 lap fresher tyres than Jelram, so Aldrich Avis could make that work here. We'll have to wait and see. But Jelram currently in the box C as P. Cheward's coming into the pits at the end of lap 12 to put a set of medium tyres on. So now it's just T. Latifi and DJ Phil who are set to make their pit stops. And obviously with no safety cars so far, it means the strategy is very much still relevant to this race. As Penguin Dude's put the medium tyres on now and is off and on his way in a motor. No, he's just coming into the pits actually. Why is he coming in again? Oh, he lost his front wing. Well, he didn't lose his front wing, but he's had a moment. He's had a bit of a sketchy one, and yeah, there he goes, off and on his way once again. But Penguin Dude has put a set of medium tyres on and should be able to go to the end from here. As we've got Sebas now leading the race, obviously still yet to make his pit stop. Started on the medium tyres, we'll be looking to try and go as long as he can. Now this could be interesting, because obviously Sebas hasn't got to let Jelram through here. Magfire and Aldrich Avis side by side. Aldrich Avis squeezes around the outside and up into P3, what is a net P2 with Sebas still yet to pit. But the question is now, obviously Sebas doesn't have to let Jelram through, because they are battling effectively for position at this point, and he has actually held Jelram up a little bit here. That has brought Aldrich Avis and Magfire into play, as they're now coming down the start finish straight in the background. No DRS, interestingly. Safety car's out. Why have we got a safety car? DJ Phil's crashed out of the race. DJ Phil is out of the race. That has triggered a safety car, and that is a massive ball ache for the drivers who are up the front, because they cannot pit. Now, does anybody else come into the pit? Sebas is making his planned pit stop. Little Greavy's taking a chance. He's coming in, I assume, for a fresh set of soft tyres. By the time we get to the end of this safety car period, we'll only have 10 laps left in this race. So it's going to be pretty much soft tyres are going to be the ideal strategy here. Now, what on earth do Jelram, Aldrich Avis and Magfire do now? Because these three are on the slower tyre, which will get them to the end. But the thing is, they're going to have drivers who are pretty quick behind them on fresh soft tyres. I mean, Little Greavy's put the fresh softs on. Sebas as well is on fresh soft tyres. So Sebas and Little Greavy are going to have a massive pace advantage over guys like Black Box, Red Lass and Game for Life for one, Little Greavy and Highton. Highton as well on the fresh soft tyres. Racky's coming in for fresh softs, as well as Matty Pitt and HD Baguette. So lots of drivers are coming in to put the fresh soft tyres on here. So that's going to leave the guys who have put the mediums on, who are still in it for the strategy, a little bit vulnerable here in the final few laps of this race. Obviously it's a 10 lap, it'll be 10 laps by the time we get to lap 15. By the time the safety cars ended, we'll have a 10 lap dash to the flag. So this is going to be fascinating to see what these drivers do now. How is this going to play out? What decisions are they going to make to influence their races here? I'd say maybe they might, there's a chance that they might be able to come in and come out in a reasonable position. And look at that. So we can see Aldrich Avis and Magfire both coming in. Magfire doing the opposite of his championship rival. Jelram is staying out on those medium tyres. And when are they going to pick up the safety car? Because this is a bit confusing. There we go, there's a safety car. So they have picked it up. But yeah, so Aldrich is coming out of the pits in third place on fresh soft tyres. Magfire is in fourth. Sebas is in second. Jelram is leading. Game for Life is coming in as well. So Jelram is going to be leading a train of cars, all of whom are on fresh soft tyres, and he is on 3-lap-old mediums. Jelram is going to have to put on the absolute defensive masterclass of his life in the last 10 laps if he's going to have any chance of winning this race. He'd be lucky to stay on the podium here. If he's in the top 5 at the end of this race, I will be very surprised. I think Jelram is going to be very vulnerable on this restart. I can't see this working out for him. Blueswell has retired from the race. He has crashed out somewhere, don't know where. Don't know if he retired or whether he put it in the wall, but he appears to be done. And this is going to be absolutely fascinating now, because Jelram is going to be massively open to any attacks here from the drivers behind him. And this could be a chance for Magfire to close that gap in the championship. Gap 22 points going into this round. I don't think Jelram's going to wrap up the title unless he absolutely makes that Red Bull as wide as a combine harvester in the closing laps of this race. I think he's going to have to wait until at least next week, the final race of the season, to take his second title here. guys, we're getting ready to go once again here. We have got 9 laps left to go in this race as Jelram once again doing what he does best. He's back in the backup in extraordinary fashion here. He's weaving around all over the place. He's slowing it down to practically walking pace here, trying to get the pack a little bit on the back foot here, but they all need to just be a little bit clever about this. They need to just lay off of one another and try and anticipate when he's going to be about to go racing. But is he going to try and floor it out the last corner, or is he going to leave it until the very last second? I think he's gone already. Yeah, we are back underway once again. Jelram going much earlier than he usually does. Sebas there right on the back of him here on those fresh soft tyres. Jelram's going to have to put in the race of his life in these final 9 laps to hold on to this lead, as we can see Sebas looking to the inside, too far back at the moment. Aldrich Avis there ahead of Magpie, followed by Little Groovy, then Black Box. Massive gap back to Rednas ahead of Highton, who's looking down the inside into turn 1. Rednas manages to hold it around the outside, as we can see P. Chewett down the inside there, and Clarky Boy trying to make the move here on Pat Verstappen, as he's squeezed through there, but Pat's now on the back of him, Pat into the wall. He was ghosting a bit there. Is he there? Yes, he is. Racky's got ahead of Penguin up into 13th place. Game for Life made the move on Pat Verstappen now. Game for Life up into 11th place. And Pat Verstappen losing a bit of ground here on this restart. As we can see, HD Baguette has got ahead of Racky up into 14th place. Matty Pitt and Steve Latifi rounding out the pack at the moment in P17, but it's Penguin who's got ahead of Pat Verstappen. They're up into 12th place now. And at the front, it's Jelram still leading ahead of Sebas, with Aldrich, Magfire and Little Greavy in hot pursuit. Black Box sticking to the back of him at the moment as well, as Racky has got ahead of Pat Verstappen up into 14th place. And Pat Verstappen is losing places after places at the moment. He's lost out to Matty Pitt as well, so Pat's not at the restart to this race that he would have wanted. I wonder if he's got a bit of damage to the front wing, perhaps. It's not showing, but it could be a little bit of a chink in the armour, so to speak, on that Ferrari. And nonetheless, though, Jelram leading ahead of Sebas on the medium tyres. As I said before, Jelram is going to be vulnerable to the next 7 cars behind him, because they're all on the faster tyre. But at the moment, he's holding his own out the front, as Sebas is probably more worried about what's behind him than what's ahead of him at the moment, because he's got Aldrich Avis now pulling out the slipstream, looking to the inside here into turn 1, and he's going to go late on the brakes there. Aldrich Avis makes the move down up into P2. Sebas goes deep, goes wide onto the runoff area and loses out a bit of time there. He's got Magfire and Little Greavy hassling the back of him here, coming down towards turn 3. P. Cheward's got ahead of Game for Life. Game for Life's back down the inside of him, though, as these two jostle for position there for 9th place. In the background, you've got Clarky Boy trying to get himself involved in this if he can, but tucking in for the time being. Pat Verstappen's into the pits here at the end of lap 17. Black Box has got a 3-second time penalty there for, I assume, track limits. And Aldrich is up into P2 ahead of Sebas, and now he's looking to make a move on Jelram as well. Aldrich Avis here trying to go around the outside. Jelram putting in an absolute defensive masterclass here, trying to hold him off, but Aldrich's probably going to have the inside for the next corner. I think the next heavy braking zone. Jelram is still holding it there. Great driving, great perseverance here from Jelram. Can he keep it around the outside here? Aldrich's going to squeeze him out. Oh my goodness me, Jelram, how has he managed to keep that there? He looked like he just tacked Aldrich Avis in the rear a little bit there. Aldrich Avis might not be happy with that one. Jelram very hard racing there. Could have been a little bit below the belt. We'll have to see what the stewards make of that one. He's defending to the inside here ahead of Sebas. Jelram is parking his car in the middle of the track here, and he is doing everything he can to try and hold on to this lead. He'll be using his battery down the straight, I'm sure of that. He's got a train of cars behind him, as I predicted, under the safety car. He's going to have to really get his elbows out here. Now Sebas looking to the inside into turn 1, but Jelram keeping it around the outside for the time being then. Magfire now looking to try and pick off Sebas. He's tucking in here. You can see Aldrich Avis in the background of this as Magfire's looking to the outside of Sebas. Can't get it down to turn 3, but Jelram somehow still in the lead of this race. How he's still there, I do not know, but he is holding on to this lead by the skin of his teeth right now, as Clarky Boy and Magfire's got a 3-second time penalty. Magfire has picked up a penalty, which means he needs to not only get ahead of Sebas and Jelram. Sebas has got a penalty as well, but he needs to not only get ahead of him, but also needs to pull away 3 seconds, as Jelram looked like he had lost the position there to Sebas. Sebas went wide coming into the left-hander, and Jelram is back up into the lead of the race once again. Magfire is watching this unfold in front of him. He knows he needs to get ahead of Jelram and needs to do it fast, because he needs to finish 3 seconds ahead of him in this race if he is to close that gap and keep this championship going for another round. As here goes Sebas out dragging Jelram. Now this is surely going to be job done. I think it is now fully done there. Sebas up into the lead of the race Now Magfire's got to try and pick Jelram up as well on the fresher, faster tyres. Here we go, DRS down this part of the track. The two championship contenders are going to be side by side as they now both got DRS here on Sebas. Sebas is the meat in the sandwich here as Jelram's now down the inside of Sebas. Sebas holding around the outside, but he's still keeping it there. Jelram's back up into the race, but here we go. Magfire will have DRS, so will Sebas, so will Aldrich Avis with 3 wide coming down the start-finish straight. This is absolutely unbelievable stuff here as Aldrich Avis now mugs them all up into the lead of the race. No, he just about squeezed around the outside there by Magfire. Jelram loses 3 places on one straight, and Sebas has come out on top there. And Magfire is now on the outside of Sebas. Side by side coming down towards turn 3. Magfire around the outside, pushing it wide. Oh my god. Magfire up into the lead of the race here ahead of Sebas. Aldrich Avis right behind him. Jelram down to 4th place on those medium tyres. I said it was a matter of time. I said he was going to be losing heaps of time on this restart with the medium tyres, and he has lost out a lot here as we've got Magfire now leading the race ahead of Sebas, followed by Aldrich Avis. What a dramatic restart this has been as the DRS coming into play massively there. Jelram losing 3 places in one straight. Magfire now has the lead of this race. Now, can he make the most of this? Aldrich will be looking to try and get ahead of Sebas as soon as he can, but Sebas, to be fair, holding his own. But Magfire will be hoping that this stays as it is and that maybe Little Greavy and Black Box can get ahead of Jelram as well. Rednass isn't too far away, so Magfire is going to be hoping and praying that Jelram can lose as many positions as possible here between now and the end of the race, and that will close the gap in the championship to near enough a race win and a second place. The differential between a race win and a second could be the number of points that we see between the two championship contenders going into the final round at Abu Dhabi, as we can see Aldrich Avis around the outside of Sebas and is now up into 2nd place here down the start finish straight. Aldrich will have DRS on Magfire. Magfire weaving all over the place. He knows Aldrich's coming for him here. Down the inside goes Aldrich Avis. Magfire trying to hold it around the outside, but Aldrich's got that move done into turn 1. He manages to get it stopped and held there. Does Magfire for turn 2, but Sebas is now looking around the outside of him. Sebas is going to be trying to sneak around the outside of turn 3, goes wide. Magfire closes the door on him. No way through there for Sebas in a moment. Jelram there waiting in the wings. He's trying to keep ahead of Little Greavy. Can he come back at these top 3 whilst they're battling? This could be prime territory for Jelram to come back at them here, as Little Greavy has DRS. He's already used up practically all of his DRS on this restart. That's unbelievable. Game for Life's got a 3-second time penalty for track limits. They've pretty much all got time penalties in this race, barring Aldrich Avis and Magfire. And basically, Magfire needs to get ahead of Aldrich Avis, or he needs to pull out 3 seconds to Jelram. Either will do, but preferably he'll want to get ahead of Aldrich Avis here. Aldrich still leading the race here as we're coming down towards the final few laps of this race here for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix here at Motive for Season 3 on the Codemasters Formula 1 game. This one obviously leading into the final round of the season next week in Abu Dhabi. The championship battle raging on. But Magfire's got that penalty, so he just needs to hold position here. As we can see, Jelram has made the move here up the inside of Sebas. He's looking at the inside of Magfire here as well. Magfire's holding it around the outside, just about keeps onto that one, but Jelram here is now coming back at them after losing momentum, after losing a few places there with the medium tyres. He's now coming back at these two. Jelram around the outside of Sebas and Magfire into P2 here. The reigning champ, the championship leader, is not going down without a fight here in this one. He's back up into P2. You can see Magfire now trying to come back at Sebas here. Black Box is not too far away. He's got Little Greavy hounding and hassling him. Black Box has actually got ahead of Little Greavy up into 5th place. Rednass there right behind them. Penguin, who's got ahead of P2 up into P10 into the final points paying position. There's position changes left, right and centre right now. Clarky Boy in the background of this. So is HD Baguette. These 4 battling it out over P10 here in this race. As Raki's into the pits and ended up 21. Aldrich Avis still leads as Magfire has now lost out to Sebas, but Sebas has gone wide. Magfire will get that one back there on the exit of the corner. But Magfire living dangerously right now. I don't think at this point it's looking like Jelram could wrap up the title here. Depending on penalties, Jelram might be able to wrap up the championship here with a round to spare. Magfire needs to get onto the back of him and needs to pull out a 3-second gap. He's got the fresher tyres. You'd think he'd be able to, but it just doesn't look like he's got the confidence right now. Those tyres, those medium tyres for Jelram are coming back to him, and the softs are now starting to wear off a little bit. What's going to happen in the final 3.5 laps of this race is anybody's guess right now, as Rednass is eyeing up a move here and has made the move around the outside. Little Greavy late on the brakes, trying to keep it there, and has managed to do so. And those two trading positions over and over again here. Black box is now on the back of Sebas. Sebas has dropped off at the back of Magfire a bit. Magfire's on the back of Jelram, but a little bit too far back into turn one. We're watching those two in the distance. Jelram's was a little bit offline there coming through turn two. On board with Black Box, can't get anything done here with Sebas at the moment. Magfire fading to the inside there on Jelram, trying to distract him if he can. Magfire really needs Jelram to get a penalty at this stage in the race, and he has. Oh my god, wow, can you imagine that? How crazy is that? Literally, as I say it, he gets a 3-second time penalty, and now all of a sudden it's a straight fight here for second place. That is crazy. So only Aldrich, Avis, HD Baguette and Raki have not got penalties. That is mad. Joe, I'm so sorry. I think I've just cursed you. HD Baguette has now got a 3-second time penalty. Aldrich still yet to get one. So is Raki. Their time penalties are now coming in thick and fast here at the end of this race. That is madness. That is absolutely nuts. As HD Baguette is on the back of P. Cheward here in this battle for the final points playing position. These two continuing to have a great scrap here for the final points playing position. As we can see, Rednass has got ahead of Black Fox. They're up into P5. Great stuff there from Rednass. That was 10 points there for him in his championship. Nonetheless, Aldrich Avis is pulling away from Jelram, but Magfire's all over the back of Jelram here as they're coming out to the start finish straight. They'll get DRS here, will Magfire. Is he too far back? 0.4 of a second. That gap will be coming down as they approach the braking zone here. Here goes Magfire now. He's going to look to the inside. No, he's going to have to be sent around the outside because Jelram's not giving him the space there. Magfire's still there around the outside, keeping it there. Jelram squeezing it around the outside. Jelram loves that move. He loves that part of the track on the left, just off the right lines. He manages to hold position around there every single time. And Magfire with nowhere to go, can't get the move done. Little Greavy has got ahead of Black Box up into P6 there on the top. There's noticing that one on the timing board. His Game for Life has dropped off for these guys. Didn't see what happened to him, but he's well off at the back of them right now. But Magfire and Jelram still going at it here for second and third places. But Jelram holding on by the skin of his teeth at the moment as it stands in this race, with the gap being 22 points in the championship. But coming into this one, Jelram will obviously finish P2 at this point in time, which will mean the gap will be 25 points, which will mean that it's mathematically on for Magfire. Mathematically. Because realistically, is Jelram going to finish outside the top 8? Probably not. But who knows what is going to happen in the final lap and a half here. Magfire has got to throw the kitchen sink here at Jelram. He needs to finish ahead of him. He could really do with getting another driver in between him, but it looks like they pulled away from Sebas. Here goes Magfire now, looking to the outside. He's going to get the move done here for the inside into the final corner, but Jelram will get DRS here down this straight. How much ERS has Magfire got? To be fair, he's not got any more than Jelram has. Jelram though, DRS down the start finish straight. Magfire tucks back into the slipstream here, as they're now coming down the start finish straight once again. Jelram timed that to perfection, let him get the move done, and then came back at him coming down the start finish straight. And these two, the championship contenders, continuing to go at it here on the final lap of this race. Magfire now needs to rethink. He's going to have 2 DRS zones to have another crack here at Jelram. Now, can he make it happen here, as we've got 3/4 of a lap left to go here, just over 2/3 of a lap left to go here at Jeddah for the penultimate round of the season. Aldrich Avis 4 seconds up the road has got this race in hand unless he makes a mistake. Jelram is holding on here ahead of Magfire. The fuel loads are lightening, the cars are getting quicker. Jelram got a fantastic drive there coming through that corner, pull down on the 10th to Magfire. Magfire, has he got anything left in the tank to try and throw at Jelram here in the final half a lap of this race? As they've got 1 DRS zone now to go. 1 DRS zone for Magfire to potentially have another crack here at this one. Just after this straight here, they'll get onto, they'll break for this left-hander. They'll get onto the power once again. There's Jelram very wide. I tell you what, that was a bit of track limits there. Looked like he got away with it. Half a second separating them. I think Magfire's too far away. I don't think he's close enough to make this happen here. I tell you what, he might have a crack, he might have a lunge. No, thinks better of it. Aldrich Avis is coming up towards the line though. Aldrich is going to take the win here for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix tonight at Motive. Jelram is going to hold on. And what's happened to Magfire? Oh, Magfire's lost it out of the last corner. And Jelram 22 comes over the line to take the championship. Jelram, I think he's done it. Magfire loses it out of the last corner. He was going all out for it there, and he has just binned it, coming out onto the straight, crossed over the line without a front wing. Hold fire, ladies and gentlemen. I think Jelram has done it. I think he's got the championship. 18 points for Jelram. Magfire comes home in 7th and picks up 6 points. It's a 12-point swing in favour of Jelram, which means his gap is 34 points. So yeah, Jelram has done it. This man here in the Red Bull, we believe, has just taken his 2nd F1 championship here at Motive. Hang fire though, because we might, I don't know if we're right, I think we are, but I don't know for sure. But I think that Jelram has done enough here. Aldrich Avis, take nothing away from him, has taken another race win here, and he's once again showing what a great driver he is. Potential esports racer in the future. He has absolutely knocked it out of the park here tonight. Well done to Aldrich Avis. Will HTB get driver of the day? He always starts from the back, usually does. Wait and see. No, Red Nats gets driver of the day tonight. So well done to him. Aldrich Avis, your race winner here tonight. But I think Jelram has just taken a championship for a 2nd season in a row. Let me just scroll up the F1 chat, see if we can check the last time that the standings were done, and then go from there. Because I know last week Magfire came 3rd, Jelram came 8th, was it? Obviously before that it was a 33-point gap in the championship. I think it was 22 after last week. I think, oh, Magfire came P6, so that's 8 points. Jelram came 2nd, so that's 18 points. Fastest up goes to Aldrich. I think the gap is 32 points. And if that's the case, then Jelram is a 2-time champion here for Motive's F1 League. Still scrolling up, still trying to find when the last time the standings were done. I think it was 2 weeks ago. And obviously since then, they've pretty much cancelled each other out in terms of points. I think it's been a 1-point swing in favour of Magfire, but it was 33 points the gap 2 weeks ago. So it would be 32 points now between them. And with 1 race left in the season, I'm almost 90% sure that that is the championship there for Jelram. Hold fire, guys. Give us a couple of minutes just to get this confirmed. We'll be back on in a sec. He came close to a win in the first round of the season at Bahrain, but that all got away from him. He then proceeded to take 5 out of the next 6 races. 6 out of the last 7 here have been taken by Jelram. He's about to take his 7th win in the space of 8 races. He is currently on the most incredible purple patch that we've seen in the Formula 1 League here at Motive. In towards the final chicane, Jelram, with 4 rounds left in the season, is going to extend his gap in the championship to 108 points. With 100 points left on the table, he takes the checkered flag, and Jelram is the Season 2 Formula 1 champion on the PlayStation platform here at Motive Racing. A big congratulations to Jelram. What a drive, what a season. Magfire to potentially have another crack here at this one. Just after this straight here, they'll get onto, they'll break with his left-hander, they'll get onto the power once again. There's Jelram very wide. I tell you what, that was a bit of track limits there. Looked like he got away with it. Half a second separating them. I think Magfire's too far away. I don't think he's close enough to make this happen here. I tell you what, he might have a crack, he might have a lunge. No, thinks better of it. Aldrich Avis has come out towards the line though. Aldrich is going to take the win here for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix tonight at Motive. Jelram is going to hold on. And what's happened to Magfire? Oh, Magfire's lost it out of the last corner. And Jelram 22 comes over the line to take the championship. Jelram, I think he's done it. Magfire loses it out of the last corner. He was going all out for it there, and he has just binned it, coming out onto the straight, crossed over the line without a front wing. Hold fire, ladies and gentlemen. I think Jelram has done it. I think he's got the championship. 18 points for Jelram.